now as we extend the conversation on the 5D mystic plane and how we do not sell you magic or truths, but we actually share direct communication, which is why we don't leverage the pain points. And actually, we find it quite, I would say, insulting. As a person growing up, I found it insulting that people would keep lecturing me. Eventually, I just got used to what is an adaptive child, because that's low self-esteem for a person who doesn't have their restorative embodied self and their integrated brain. And as a person who did get taught how to be respectful, I just learned how to, well, really what it is we don't like to spend time, some of us, with people who say they're smart and we consider them actually stupid. Now, not intellectually, because of course they can regurgitate a lot of material, which is why a mystic is a woo-woo pseudoscience lady to those people. And to those who are spiritual bypassers, they will be like, how dare you say that there's no spirituality? So they get all up in their butts about who they're basically bowing down to as their master. And we think, wait a minute, didn't you say you were mystic? You don't have, I think, a relationship with the sphere of intelligence or Akash. I think you have a relationship with the books. I think you don't know Mahasamadhi Samadhi. Yeah, you don't know how to read with the left and right mode and assimilate in the absence of your preferences. So you don't know how to do meta awareness. So you're doing yoga, you're doing all of this pretty dancing and stuff, which doesn't bring demons out of you, it brings out trauma memory. Oh, and then you turn your back and say it's the devil's work. Okay, wow, you are all very much into a storyland that I know about because I got raised with Jesus and God. So I remember telling, hey, God, I think the people, they stayed stuck in time, but I see humans suffering. And thank you, attachment researchers. Let me get to that one. So even in the absence of knowing about trauma or attachment in the in-depth way that I do now, I knew something was up with people who got nasty. Oh, excuse me, wait. I like to do it this way because they're right mode. What happens when you can't handle, because you have a window of tolerance is what the word is, you pour, unfortunately, it's not funny, it's actual childhood trauma. So as Ursula points out, and any 4D mystic, they will think that they're saviors. That's the martyrs and the spiritual bypassers. And they can also be therapists who are not healed. Because I found out from studies and good therapists that like 50% of the therapist community, I obviously don't know if it's true. I don't know where the studies come from, but these are people who are in the profession of. What I do know as a political science major and an online marketer, I see a lot of my colleagues. Yeah, it's really unpleasant when I see you poor unfortunate souls, but they want to twist it and they're actually leveraging the very pain point by being instructed in very specific ways by content marketers. I have completely, always, any person I work with, I say, we don't need to manipulate the suffering. We want to allow them to know what benefit you bring them. And if it's true, then we don't need to manipulate, do we? Or is your product lacking quality? Because seriously, if you don't believe in your product, or if your product doesn't do anything, then of course you need to use tricks. So there's many ways a person who's a 5D mystic maintains Purusha. It's called pure consciousness, unconditional love. But what I want to describe is it's called I will hold my value body, my heart body, my physical, emotional, energy body. And what this is I am meta aware that as a human being, I'm using this thing called brain. And when emotions arise, I had secure attachment though, and I was held with equanimity. And I was informed by my lovely mother every step of the way. Everything you do, Maria, it's your life, not mine. I'm just trying to guide you. And with her lovely authoritative tone, and in many different ways, she just kept on doing that. And so, as by the way, your drivers, they're important. So we all have them. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. You have them, I have them, because you have an attachment system. I do too. You have a nervous system. It's a body. I mean, there's only so many ways the embodied brain can develop, and that's why yoga doesn't bring demons out of you, but it does bring trauma memory, which is stuck in your bones, muscles, and tissues. But hey, let's not believe biology or neuroscience or any of that. But let's not call ourselves flat earthers. Let's call ourselves, you poor unfortunate souls. No, let's call ourselves not Ursula. Again, it's just one example that I can use for when I see ignorant, evil ignorance, people who need a good therapist because they are with their bystanders all rallied up as if they're in Braveheart with self-righteousness. And I get to any 5D mystic will know how to spot them like a T, because it's really clear. They're all against humanity. You're pieces of shit. There's something. They're yelling about something, and they're not having fun. The human suffering love narrative is not anything that we're attracted to. My heart has pain. No, I've gotten so used to people using the pain points of people. I'm like, but I thought you were smart. Yes, Maria, I'm smart. It's the others, they're stupid and they follow the mass media. But aren't you doing the same? Don't you think you're exaggerating? Again, over here. No. Yeah. Okay, let me stand back and let me put my shoes back on. Let me, what is it? The Wizard of All. Let me go home. Let me go home. Okay, so I am home in my body, actually. This is where Smart Cookie knows my emotions will affect anything because, of course, if I'm upset. So we don't go to Ursula, and that's why the 5D mystic actually does not, one, treat mysticism as if it's something that is a magic wand. And we also don't find it offensive when our sciences people know how to explain mysticism, which is why it's not a competition. This is why we have spirituality gurus meeting lovely Sadhguru with the lovely neuroscience community. This is also why the entire sphere of academia, the good ones, even when we have bad ones in there, it's okay. They all serve a purpose, because some people, they don't want to grow out of the idea of magic being simply magic. They don't like to hear that science is magic that works, because they're still comparing. And here's where I'm going to get very serious right now and share those drivers. Some have a dominant self-agency driver, others have a dominant bonding driver, and others have a certainty bonding driver. And I learn every day more how to be the adult equanimous version of me, thank you to the attachment and trauma-informed community therapists, the good ones, not the bad ones. The bad ones give me data that helps me know that I'm on the right track because of the good ones giving me good data just as well. Difference is the bad ones share with me their opinion, which makes me know the pain point that they're picking on with you, and you would be anybody who's, please give me the magic spell, that then comes and says people like myself are woo-woo and pseudoscience, which is also why the lovely naysayer of the IHP community gave me the opportunity to say, yes, if I wanted to be sciences, I would be a researcher. I would have done the same thing Stephen Porges chose. He chose to not go down the entrepreneur route. I have a course with him, that's why I know this, and he shares this story. He says, I want to do research, and I want to keep doing research on the polyvagal theory that helps people. So I want to sit where I do good, and I'm going to keep building quantitative data so that I can in time continue to prove in the way that our empirical data people want. Then there's a reason for it, because if it's just a random chance, it's not proven yet. Now, people who think they're smart go around with podcast interviewers who tell them that yoga is demonic, or that the FBI ex-agent is sure that there's conspiracy theories. I've met a person like that. As I shared with them, there's no demon inside the bodies of people. You do know that, right? You understand that trauma is a very serious thing. What you're telling me is dangerous. Now, this is a person who's in therapy. I said, what do you mean? No, I've met a Mason. I've met this. Don't you know? I've been in rallies. I've been there. So they live pseudo-aliveness, that's for sure. Even though now they're better with the therapist. But what I'm saying is the hypervigilant is this thing that people do, and they're not aware of it because they're still working to get to restorative body self. So as they're speaking, and I'm respecting their perspective, because that's what a grown-up 5D mystic enlightenment functional adult knows how to do, which is you're not offending me by calling me woo-woo or pseudoscience, or by telling me that you don't believe in mediums, because I don't have to believe in you. I take the data, I heard you, bye. And, I won't sell you magic trick, because that's not what I'm doing. I'm actually giving you what is direct communication and an opportunity to become yourself if you want, which is restorative embodied self and integration of the brain. So there's no magic tricks. And on that note, this person looks me in the eyes and say, you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation by having unconditional love for all these people. And I say, I'm looking in the eyes of a human. And anytime I see a person that has an armor on, I know they use the neuroplastic agent in the dark side, and that they're ruminating. And I feel really sad for them, but I'm not despairing, because there's trauma therapists that if they want to get better, they know where to go. And it's not the Ghostbusters. And it's not my magic wand, because Reiki's not going to help them. It can clear away. They're going to have to say, I love myself. I want inner and outer well-being. And that's why we don't need to wish upon a star. It's called Love, Human Love Narrative, and I love to share more of it. So tune in if you like